choose, okay? But just pick one, and you're just going to do one. So if you are drawn to the tangerine, that's cool. If you're drawn to the chocolate, don't open anything yet. Just kind of clear your space, get your napkin in front of you. And I'm going to ask you to just kind of rid your brain, take a few moments to just take a deep breath. Breathe in and breathe out. We'll do that 3 times. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Again, deep breath in and a deep breath out. I'm going to start with an auditory sensation. I've got different apps. I'm going to give you the sound of a bell. And I just want you to focus on the sound and see how long it takes before you can't hear anything. Okay? And just raise your hand when you can't hear the sound anymore. I'm going to come a little bit closer. Oops. For sending me a message just as I was saying, yeah. Okay, ready? Yes?
How are eyes supposed to close?
If you can just kind of gaze down, if you want to close your eyes, you're welcome to do so. You're going to need to be eyes open for the next piece. So, but if you want to close your eyes, you're welcome to do that. And sometimes your auditory improves when you close out your other senses. Okay? So just see, and when you can no longer hear the bell, raise your hand. Great. What was that experience like, Gordon? Nothing? Anything?
That was like the only thing I was really focused on. Just like listening to that bell. I wasn't worried about, the last 10 minutes of class or what I'm gonna do later or what happened yesterday or what's gonna happen next week. It was just on that bell.
Exactly. And a lot of times that's why they'll use a bell as an opening and they'll use the bell as an exit from a meditative practice. But I think it's interesting to take your attention to a sensation, a sensory input. Because a lot of times people say focus on the breathing, and people might find that difficult. But even having a bell and paying attention to that bell for 1 minute could be an exit from your thoughts and being able to pull your brain away from your thoughts. All right, so you're going to have to listen carefully and follow my directions. Don't jump ahead, okay? We're going to have an experience. Have any of you ever done the experience with a raisin? Sometimes they'll do the meditation or the experience with eating a raisin in a very slow way. Well, I find the tangerine to be much more powerful, but if you love chocolate, then the chocolate. So choose whatever item that you might want, and I want you to just stare at it. Whatever item you choose, pick one. Stare at that particular item. Hold it in your hand. Okay. Kind of move it around and look at the different angles. So you might be looking at the top of it and then flip it around and slowly look at the bottom. Really observe it. Maybe you never noticed something about it before. Kind of just visually take that in. How does it feel within your hands? Just experience that piece. Now I want you to smell it. See if you get any kind of sensory input from smelling it. Okay, maybe you do, maybe you don't. All right, now we're very slowly going to start the process of either opening your wrapper or peeling the tangerine. And as you do that very first step, bring it up closer to your nose and see what experience you have. I like to just put my nail into the tangerine, but just slightly open that wrapper. And take in that olfactory experience. All right, you can continue to open it, unwrap it slowly, or peel the tangerine if you're peeling. As you're doing it, observe the texture on the inside. If you're doing the tangerine, you might notice the skin that you've never really paid very close attention to on the inside. Or if you're looking at the chocolate, you might be observing sort of the texture and the feel of having a little bit of that chocolate on your fingers. Again, explore it, smell it. If you're doing the chocolate, just put your tongue on it. Don't eat it yet, but just explore it with your tongue for a second. If you're doing the tangerine, go ahead and take a piece of the tangerine. And what I'm going to ask you to do is either whether you're doing the tangerine or the chocolate, go ahead and put the whole piece in your mouth, but just let it sit there. Don't chew it. Just let it sit on your tongue, or basically, and just hold it there for a while and just experience what that is like, okay? See how long you can wait without biting in. Feel the texture. With the tangerine, you're not going to get much taste if you just hold it on your tongue. With the chocolate, you will get. Okay? And then eventually, see how long you can extend that. And then once you've bitten into it, does that experience change for you further? Where on your tongue are you getting taste buds reacting? Does either item taste different to you than it typically would, or different from when you've eaten this thing in the past? And now you can go ahead and finish chewing if you haven't had a chance to do that yet. All right. What was your experience with that? Positive, negative, qualitatively, what was that like? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Usually, like, I like candy, so if I go to my friend's house or I have candy at home, I'll just throw it all in my mouth. Just eat everything in sight, eat the whole bag, and however long, quickly as possible. But with there, it really made me like enjoy the chocolate itself. So
yeah, it gives
definitely
you
like slow down, relax, enjoy it.
Exactly. There's a whole practice in mindfulness of mindful eating, and it is that process. One of the things I was looking at prior to coming to class was like the happiness benefits of mindful eating, and that it really does take us and an enjoyment of that food in a different way, because so often we're just, putting food in our mouth rapidly without necessarily experiencing the texture and the real flavor to it. Another piece of that people who engage in mindful eating will also practice gratitude, which is part of mindfulness, for where the food came from and who was involved in making it possible that you have that food. So it's an interesting thing. It just takes you far beyond the shoving food in your mouth. Other experiences. Your hand might not be up, but I'm calling on you because you're the tangerine person.
So the beginning was interesting because I feel like it requires more effort than opening or unwrapping a piece of chocolate, but there is like a lot of stuff that like I've never noticed before, like just like the skin, like immediately I'm just like, oh, there's such a little dots on this thing, and like I was trying to peel it without like breaking it just because, and I'm like, yeah, this is kind of hard.
What about the first moment, for those of you who did the tangerine, the first moment you broke the skin open?
The smell was like almost too strong.
Yeah.
It's
it's huge. Like the smell when you first, so you're all welcome to take your tangerines and eat them later, but I ask you to do it in that mindful kind of way and just get quiet. And I just like let my nail break the skin, and it was like this burst, absolute intense burst that kind of gets to you. What about any other tangerine eaters? You were a tangerine eater. What was it like holding that tangerine on your tongue?
It was interesting because I don't ever eat tangerines like that. Like you just like bite into them immediately. So like, I guess like what was like most interesting is like when you like bit it and like you could taste everything like at one time, because before it didn't really taste like anything. So like I guess like I really noticed like what it like tastes like.
Yeah. You go from nothing to that sensation. Did anybody who was eating the tangerine find it uncomfortable to like have it on your tongue? Yeah, it's like kind of just like this blob on your tongue. And then, and you're waiting, and you're waiting, and you're waiting, and then when you finally bite, it's like, okay. Any other experiences that you had on the chocolate end of things?
I don't know, it felt weird but nice having it like melt on my tongue.
Why do you think that was?
I honestly don't know, maybe like heat in your mouth.
Okay.
It just melted it all over so you
Yeah.
can actually enjoy the chocolate more. Like, I like to eat candy and chocolate too, so I usually don't think about the taste when I eat it, I just eat it. So it was fun to experience like the melting on my tongue, and then you could taste more.
Yes. Yeah. It really intensifies that process when you're allowing it to melt, because often if you're chewing it, it's gone before you even get the opportunity to have that kind of experience. What else? Anybody else have a particular reaction?
For me, I try not to eat chocolate around during the year, but like during Christmas, I just get a lot of chocolate in my stocking or whatever. So like the smell of it was just like it brought me to Christmas.
Oh, interesting. Oh, wow. Very cool. Very cool. Huh. Yeah, so there's often associations that we have. So it's interesting that your thoughts went to that, and that was a positive kind of thought, and you had awareness of that connection and thought, which is exactly what you would be doing in, if you were engaged in a meditation, is those thoughts are popping through your head, and you watch them. As he said, often you just watch it, label it sometimes, and then it moves on, and you may have others. So the last thing, I know my time is...
But that clock is 2 minutes fast, so you're right.
Perfect. I have another article, and I think Dr. McGrath can get this to you somehow.
It's up already.
Oh, okay. I came across this, and for a couple reasons. I like this particular source, and you can just click on, it's mindful.org, and lots of different articles But I liked this one because it was, and all the articles are very short and to the point. But these are some of the common obstacles that people have, along with very simple solutions. So if you are hoping to bring more mindfulness into your practice, just be aware that these are very common experiences. And it talks about, just real quickly, doubt, restlessness, irritation, sleepiness, and wanting. That is where you basically, you start meditating and you need something or want something or, those reasons to stop. And it just gives some quick ideas of how you can deal with those sorts of situations. So thanks, you were a great group and very responsive, and I enjoyed having the opportunity to share with you.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Enjoy your tangerine or chocolate. Hopefully you'll eat it mindfully.